So I'm guessing you're here because your car just slashed a P2714 error code, and you're trying to figure out what on earth is going on. Well, don't worry, you've come to the right place. We're going to decode this thing together and figure out exactly what your car is trying to tell you.
Ah, yes, we've all been there, right? You're just cruising along, everything's fine. And then, bam, that little orange engine icon lights up your dash. It's like an instant shot of anxiety. Is it serious? Is this going to be expensive? What does it even mean?
If that little code radar of yours spat out P2714, you can take a breath. In this explainer, we're going to break it down step by step and turn that confusing warning light into a clear, manageable plan of attack. All right, so first things first, what exactly are we dealing with here? Let's pull the mask off this villain and see what's really behind code P2714. Okay, the official technical name is pressure control solenoid, D, performance or stuck off. So what does that actually mean? Well, in plain English, your car's main computer, its brain, told a specific part in your transmission to do a job, but it didn't see the result it was expecting. It's seeing a problem with hydraulic pressure.
And that part is the pressure control solenoid. Just think of it like a really smart, electronically controlled faucet. Its only job is to manage the flow and pressure of your transmission fluid, and that precise control is absolutely crucial for your car to shift gears smoothly and seamlessly.
And that's a perfect way to think about it. The transmission fluid is the lifeblood of the whole system, and this little solenoid is the traffic cop, directing that flow exactly where it needs to go, when it needs to go there. When that cop suddenly goes on a coffee break, you get traffic jams, or in your car's case, some pretty rough shifting problems.
So we know what it is, but why is it happening? Where do we even start our investigation? Well, let's follow the first and honestly, the most important clue. Now listen up, because this is the key takeaway. Before you start worrying about expensive electronics or tearing parts out, you have to check your transmission fluid. I'm serious. The vast majority of the time, a P2714 code is caused by fluid that's either low, dirty, or just plain old. It's the easiest thing to check, and it's almost always the culprit. And you can see the difference so clearly here. Healthy fluid should be clean, kind of reddish in color. The problem fluid? Yeah, that's going to be dark brown or even black. It might have a nasty burnt smell, and worst of all, you might even see little metal shavings in it. And of course, a low fluid level is a huge red flag all on its own. So here's your first aid plan. First, check the level, if your car has a dipstick, that is. Then really pay attention to the color and the smell. If it's looking dark, smelling burnt, or has any gunk in it, it's definitely time for a change. And don't forget the filter. A clogged filter can cause the exact same pressure problems we're talking about. Okay, so let's say your fluid looks brand new. What's next on the list? Well, now it's time to interrogate the main suspect that's named right in the code, the solenoid itself.
The problem here usually boils down to one of three things. 1, the solenoid itself has just failed. It could be physically stuck, totally worn out, or have an electrical issue inside. 2, the problem is in the wiring going to it, maybe a break in the wire or a short circuit. Or 3, it could be something as simple as a loose or corroded connector that's not letting the signal get through.
Now, this part gets a little more hands-on, and you might want to call in a pro. You'll need a service manual for your car to figure out which one is solenoid D. Once you found it, you can use a multimeter to check its electrical resistance and see if it matches the specs. You'd also check the wiring to make sure it's actually getting power. All right, but what if the fluid is good and the solenoid and its wiring all check out? Well, now we have to dig deeper. This is where the conspiracy can unfold into some more serious internal problems. At this point, we're looking at things like that badly clogged filter we talked about, or maybe a failing transmission pump that just isn't making enough pressure anymore. It could even be a problem inside the valve body or blocked fluid passages deep inside the transmission itself. And here is a massive clue, a real pro tip. If you're dealing with one of these bigger, more serious internal failures, you'll usually not get just a P2714 code. You'll likely see a whole bunch of other transmission codes popping up right along with it. So if P2714 is flying solo, that's actually good news. It points you back to the simpler causes. And finally, we get to the absolute rarest cause of all, a bad computer or control module. Look, it's possible for them to fail, but it's really uncommon. You should check off every single other possibility on our list before you even begin to think the module is the problem. It is the absolute last resort. Okay, let's put it all together. Let's close the case file on this code and give you a clear, step-by-step diagnostic roadmap to follow.
But hang on, before we do that final recap, I have to give you a serious warning. This is not a code you want to ignore. If you keep driving your car while it's slipping or shifting really harshly, you can cause severe, catastrophic, and trust me, very expensive transmission damage. So please get it checked out. So here it is, your step-by-step game plan, from most likely to least likely cause. Number 1, always start with the fluid. Check the level and condition. Number 2, inspect all the wiring and connectors. 3, test the solenoid circuit itself. 4, if you're still stuck, it's time to investigate deeper internal parts. And 5, the absolute last resort, consider the control module.
Look, that check engine light is stressful. I get it, but it's not some big, unsolvable mystery anymore. You now have a logical path to follow. You know exactly where to start looking and what to check for. So really, the only question left is, what's your first step?